Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me again. Tonight we are doing something a little bit different. We're also starting a little bit early. So tonight we're going to be picking up the PHPOnline project because we've not touched that for a while. It's kind of been left by the wayside. So I thought it was about time we showed it a little bit of love and did some work with it. We're going to start from scratch though, because I kind of let it go a little bit stale, and we kind of went off on a bit of a tangent last time. So this time around, we're just going to focus on the core concept of what we want to achieve straight away. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. So we're going to create a new Laravel project. Good evening, wife. Thank you for joining me as always. We're going to do a new PHPOnline project. We are going to make sure that that is a Jetstream project, and let's get started. So this is going to be Livewire. Oh, hey Stefan, and hey Annie, hey Logan. My children are tuning in to watch tonight, my two eldest. Dad's on the TV. It's nothing exciting, it's just a few people who he likes to bug every now and then. So we're going to go for Livewire for this stack. Inertia, while Inertia is great, I don't think I need something quite like Inertia, and the SSR is a little bit finicky at the minute for what I'd like to use, so I'm going to stick with Livewire. We're going to go tool stack for a few reasons which we'll dive into as we go through. So to start with, let's go for some Livewire. We're not going to need any teams, so we're good to go there. And we're creating our project. So while that is doing that, I'm going to pull up a local database. We're going to create a new database, and we're just going to create one called PHPOnline. And now I don't need table plus anymore, and we're good. So I can go into PHPOnline. That's how we're going to get started. And what we will do is come down to here, and we're going to say, okay, let's create a new project from existing files. Let's come back to our sites. This is going to have the exact same problem I had yesterday, so we're just going to close that off. It takes a moment for PHP Storm to pick up new directories. A little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. I'm not going to complain too much. So yeah, I've got a playlist going, same playlist as last time, because I kept getting copyright issues with my streams because I was playing just random music. So I found some very relaxing sort of vibey sort of Spotify playlists which are free for streamers to play on their streams without getting any sort of copyright infringement or getting your videos blocked like I got last time. So going to stick with that one. So PHPOnline test, it cannot connect to the server. So let me just go double check Chrome on another window just in case it's okay. Do I have Valet running? That is a question. And what I'll do, I'll also start PHP Monitor in the background too, make sure all of that is running, because I've been using Docker a lot at work, so we're good. We are good to go. So let's come back to our code. Let's come over to our env quickly. First thing we want to do is let's just fix up this database. There's our local host. I'm pretty sure that's root. Why do I always press the brightness button? The session driver, we're just going to go for file. It's going to be relatively simple. This is going to be called PHPOnline, PHPOnline.test. Everything else is looking good. So now if we refresh that page, we've got a nice new Laravel app. Because it's Jetstream, we've got a login and register records all set up and ready for us. The only thing we know we need to do is kind of quickly build those front end assets. So what I like to do beforehand is just quickly have a look through here, make sure there's nothing that I don't want. No, I don't really want Lodash, but I don't know if there's a dependency for it somewhere. So what we'll do is we will just do a quick npm install and npm run dev, because we're not going to be doing much JavaScript. I'm somewhat allergic to JavaScript. It just doesn't agree with me. It just doesn't agree with my stomach. We don't get on. We're not friends. So I just ignore it where possible. The only thing I do like to do, actually, when it comes to JavaScript with this, is I don't see the point in this bootstrap file anymore, because, well, all this is doing is importing, right? It feels almost pointless. So we can drop that. We're not going to use pusher or anything for this. So we can do that. We can grab some Alpine. And there we go. And just recompile that quickly. Just run dev. That's going to be good enough. So we can close that. Let's refresh. And we've got an application ready to go. So, PHPOnline. It's a community-based project. The aim of PHPOnline is to allow people to write their own articles, import their own articles from their own blog, and allow them to be discovered easily by other parts of the PHP community without having to rely on like cross-posting on Medium or dev.to or submitting a link to Laravel News or freak.dev in the hopes that, you know, they get approved, they get access, and people will actually see it. So what PHPOnline is going to be a very free and open, post your content, import your content, and it's discoverable by anyone using search. Nice and easy. You just come to PHPOnline, you search for the content using Laravel Scout, and it will find it. It's nothing too complicated, but as it grows, we're going to start adding more into it. We're going to be starting adding in things like, register the podcasts that you've started while COVID's been on, so other people can find it and listen to it. It's just a way for you to kind of promote the content that you're creating within the PHP community. A really good place for juniors to go for like a single place they can go to find all of the content that they might need from other sources, but also at the same time a good place for more experienced developers to get the content seen by other people as well. So all in all, pretty useful. Just something that I wanted to give back to the community, I suppose. So this doesn't need an API. I don't know what to do with myself. This is going to be a tool stack, application. We're going to log into it and stuff, and we're going to be building forms and all that crazy stuff, which I'm not used to. I'm used to APIs. So what we're going to start with right now is just a bit of data modeling. I'm starting a little bit early tonight because I'd like to spend a little bit of time with my wife a little bit for a change, because I've been doing a few talks at user groups recently, so I've kind of not had enough time with her. So we're going to have a nice Chinese together or something, or watch some, I think there's some new stuff out on Netflix which we wanted to watch, so we're just going to spend some time together, because when you've got as many kids as us, you need to find time where you can. So the first thing is let's make a model. We've got our user model. Laravel comes with our user model. We don't need to recreate that one. But the first thing that we know we're going to need is a category. We're going to want to categorize our articles in some way, right? So let's make a new model. Category. We're going to create a migration. We're going to create a factory, and I'm not going to worry about a seeder yet. We'll worry about seeders later. So categories are going to be relatively simple, as you can expect. Going down to our migrations. One thing that I would like to change. Hey Chris, thanks for joining, buddy. I really need to change the some of these, don't I? What do I do? What do I do first? Let's return a new class quickly there. We need to change some default migrations. We need to change some defaults in general. I like having a down migration. Some people don't. Personally, I'm a fan. What I'm thinking here is I think I'd be tempted to split out first name and last name, but I don't know whether I should do. I'm going to keep it as is for now, because yeah, it works. I'm not going to break something just yet. Hey Bernard, thanks for joining, buddy. So there's our migration for our users table. Here's our categories table. Declare some strict types there. We're going to change this to return a new class instead. So we can fix that one up. We don't need the comment, but we can return void over here so that it's a little bit nicer with the return types. So, sorry, GitHub Copilot keeps popping up this little head up going, don't forget you installed me, you're not going to regret this at all. So with categories, a category's got a name, right? So let's go table string unique. And we're going to add slug on here. Yeah, I'm a big fan of DAO migrations as well. I don't get why people hate them so much. They can be useful. They've saved my bacon a few times. Right, so we also... It's not likely that our categories are going to need any sort of description. So I'm going to ignore adding a description for now. Timestamps, that's fine. It doesn't need them because this is like an internal thing that's created. So we don't need timestamps, soft deletes or anything. It's literally, this is going to be things like beginner, intermediate and advanced. They're like the only three that I can think of right now in terms of categories. Oh no, we're thinking something else. I'm thinking, no, yeah, I'm on the right track, yeah. Categories is we're categorizing based on difficulty level. So people can say, okay, so I'm going to write a beginner friendly article. Here we go. Right, okay, so what topics do I talk about now? So instead of having a category of like news or tutorials, that's going to be a different way that we do it, I think. So why do I return the class? It's just it's anonymous migrations. It's coming in Laravel 9, I believe, as default. And I've been using them for a while. It means that you get less name collisions on your classes. So when this was, when this is a class name, if a package publishes something, you can occasionally get class, because it's not namespaced, you can get class collisions. So by returning a new anonymous class, it means you can avoid that completely. Do you have a work plan to share? No, not yet actually, Bernard. This is very much, I kind of decided I was going to do this yesterday. So I've not quite put all of this together yet. That is my next plan. So by next week I will have a plan in place for what I'm going to be doing as I go through. This is very much a very kind of a relaxed, we've just been doing online stores. Let's have a bit more of a relaxed approach to it for now. So what I'm going to do quickly as well is obviously PES.PHP. I don't go anywhere without PES.PHP when I'm building Laravel code these days. So we'll get PES installed. I just find it impossible to test without PES now. I just like it. It's too much. Just think the thought of going. I've already starred you. The thought of going back to writing class-based tests just does not appeal to me in the slightest. Just why would I do it to myself? So let's declare some strict types up there. So as usual, I am going to offend some people here and use fillable because I like it. I'm not going to use fillable properly apparently. So what we're going to have is we're going to have a slug and we're going to have a name, and then what we also need to do is make sure that up here quickly we do a public timestamps is false. We don't want timestamps basically. And anything else we might need? Not yet. We're pretty good. We don't need to cast anything. We do need to worry about how we're going to do slug creation, but we're going to do that in a minute. So I did do that, didn't I? Yeah, I did do a pest install. So what I do straight away is come down to my tests and I go, you know, these two original tests that you get, not for me. Even these aren't super useful, but I'm going to keep them for now. So now if I run a quick artisan test, we get lots of failures. Let me migrate. Nope, I haven't finished setting up the database, have I? I'm rushing ahead because I'm thinking about Chinese food later. That's all it is. PHPOnline localhost, migrating, testing. Lots of warnings, some skipped, we're good. That's good enough now. Yeah, of course I'm going to use DDD. I don't do anything without pest, PHP, and domain-driven design. That's just my thing. But I always refactor to it. I don't start with it straight away because I don't see the point in starting straight away. So right now, all I've got is a category. There's no point setting up all this kind of like domain structure when all I'm doing is publishing a few articles. I'm probably going to refactor that in a future episode, if I'm really honest. So we've got categories, which means that now we can quite easily go, okay, let's make a new model. We are going to create an article model. I call them articles, not posts. It's a personal thing. I just, you know, it's a post is something small. I'm aiming for these to be potentially a bit bigger. You know, people might want to write large articles instead of a small blog post. So if we come back down to our database quickly, into our migrations, we can come to our articles table here. So let's quickly declare our strict types. Turn a new class here. Fix this up. I will probably publish the stubs for this, but I don't want to spend my entire time on a stream doing this because as soon as that Chinese arrives, I know I'm going to be waving goodbye and going, sayonara, I am absolutely starving. So let's quickly add some relations in here. So we're going to have a foreign ID. That foreign ID is going to relate back to a user because, you know, we need an author. We are going to index. It's constrained. We're going to index. We're going to make it nullable. This is like a nice way that I like to do things now. So let me just drop this down. Nullable. We're constrained. We're going to index it. But also, null on delete. So basically, why is it complaining about that? Okay. Maybe there it won't complain. Yeah, okay. So basically, if a user deletes their account, we don't want to automatically delete all of their articles because suddenly, you know, we find ourselves with no content. We'll just remove that author, and then we have this cooldown period where their articles can be deleted using the what's the new Laravel term for it? What do they create? Prunable. And not only user, but also we are going to do that for the category also. So our articles are going to belong to a user, you know, who authored this article and what category does it belong to. So it's going to have a unique slug to it. It obviously needs to have some way of being referenced through the URI. I'm going to add a string for the name. And the way that I'm going to build the slug is going to be slightly different to how I'd usually do this. So, slug, name. We're going to keep it really basic for now. I'm going to come back a little bit later, start filling in things like how we can custom add meta information and, you know, is this an imported article or is this a written article through the platform. We're gonna work with that part, but for now we're gonna keep it relatively simple. We're going to do a medium text because I imagine they could get quite large. And we're going to put that as content. Comments. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do about comments, because allowing comments means that we then have to start looking at moderating this. And as a community platform, I don't know if honestly can't say that I will have the time to moderate that, because if it starts getting busy, I've got a full-time job, I've got 5 kids, I don't have time to moderate a blog site. So it might be something I'll look at and I'll take under advisement a little bit later, but right now we're going to keep it relatively simple of just knowledge sharing within the community. And it's not just based on just Laravel. This will be like, PHP as a whole. You can write articles on how to write, object design in PHP, and even really beginner articles like how to use variables. That's the whole purpose, is to help people progress. So what we've got slug, name, content, who wrote it, and the category that it belongs to. What else could we do? I'm probably going to add a quick boolean in here. Table boolean. We're going to default this one to false. So what this is going to be we're going to say whether it's an import. Yeah, I don't think an auto mod's really within scope. It'd be fun to write, but maybe not right now. And what I'm also going to add actually is quick string under this one, which is nullable, and this is going to have a canonical URL, because if this is imported, we want to point back to the source. We're not here saying we're claiming all your content. If you import your content, we want to be able to point back to where that came from, and because we're going to import through RSS feeds, we're always going to have that URL to point back to. So this allows us to quickly control that one. I'm not looking at article avatars just yet, if I'm honest. That's another thing for further down the road, definitely. It could be useful, but if need be, it's Laravel Jetstream. I definitely need to have some sort of whether it's a draft or not. So let me pop that up there. This is how I like to categorize things. So we're going to have a string here for status, and we're going to use an enum to control that, I think. And we will put that before the canonical and import. Press too many buttons at once. So we're going to have status there. So that could be like whether it's published, whether it's draft, that sort of thing. We'll control that through an enum. We're going to auto approve it. Or it could be a pending status to start with. So this could be, it goes from draft to pending to published, or it could be hidden. So for example, let's say if they write an article as a draft, they then say, okay, I want to put this through published. I can then go, okay, is this spammy content? Okay, this is going to be hidden content. Only the author can see this because it's a bit too spammy. So that when we're looking for things through the platform, we're not finding those, buy these pills to enlarge your socks. Oh, you've messaged me about, important stuff. Go Chinese style pork, please. Oh wait, you can probably hear me. Chinese style pork, please, wife. We'll go for that one. So you have a slug and a name. So article name. Title, really. It should be a title. We don't name articles, we give an article a title. Article does have content. And what's nice is being able to add like a little bit of descriptive text. So we're going to have a string content down here, which could be like for an excerpt. And what I will probably do, I'll limit that to 120 characters, because that's the ideal limit for when you're the ideal limit for any kind of meta description is about 120 characters. So we'll limit that manually within MySQL so that we can make sure people are, doing it best they can. So good question, Edgar. Let me just show that one on the broadcast. So why not status as a tiny int? Because we're going to have stages that they move through. So as usual, I'll probably add event sourcing to this because it's what I do. And the reason for it is that when they first submit that article, they could say a quick flick switch saying, yeah, I want this to be published, or I want this to stay draft. And if they say we want to publish it, we then set that as pending, unless they're a trusted author already. So that's something I need to add on to users as well, is a Boolean flag to say whether they've been, they're a trusted author, so basically auto-publish their content, or it needs to go through this review process because new content authors come through and they start writing articles. They're good, cool, right? Auto-publish. They're writing good content. They're writing non-spammy content. Because it's all about helping the community, and I don't want articles all about follow these steps to be really popular on Twitter. That's not what this is about. So that's kind of the way I'm going with that. I'm not going to go integer. I'm going to go status using an enum, because I think there's a lot of flexibility going forward with that one. And in terms of quickly searching, enum as a DB field is like the worst thing you could ever want to do. I hate enums in the database because they're so hard to extend. It's just a pain in the bum. Just don't use them. Push that enum off to the PHP side and control that. Put some control measures around using that. And that's a good point. What Chris just came. What happens if I run out of tiny int values because I want a longer process for the status? Maybe it's featured. Maybe it's article of the month as a status. I limit myself by using tiny int at that point. So we've got some canonical import stuff. We've got a status, so we can control it. Whether it's hidden or not. We've got content, and we've got how it's being identified, who it belongs to, and that category straight away, and then obviously soft deletes. So let's jump up to the model and let's fill that in. So we have got fillable slug name. Oops, category. I didn't want category, I wanted article. I do apologise, that is me getting a bit carried away. So first off, let's drop those strict types in there, because that's what we do here. What we do on my channel, we'd like to do strict types. Let's drop some fillable fields within here. So we're going to have a slug. We are going to have a title. We're going to have an excerpt. We're going to have some content for the article. We're going to have a status. I'm going to copy that so I don't spell it wrong, because I have a tendency for typos on this channel too. Import Boolean flag, pretty useful. I like to add the relations in here too, because sometimes it makes more sense to do it that way. Food arriving shortly. My stomach literally just rumbled. It's like Chris. We'll compare notes tomorrow at work about whose food was tastier. Okay, so we're going to need some casts on here too. So we're going to go protected casts. So what do we need to cast here? We've got one. We've only got the one boolean, so we can just go for this. Some people go as far as casting everything that's a string to a string and everything that's an integer to an integer, but you don't need to do that. I've never felt the need to do that. If that's how you like to do it, and that's taking, being declarative a little bit too far for my liking personally. If that's how you do it, totally up to you. Tell me why. Love to hear why. So we're going to have a public function author. This author is a belongs to relationship. So we can say return this belongs to. What I'm going to do, I'm going to close that screen down now because I need some real estate to see this, right? So we're going to belong to it is related. Oh, wait a minute, it's going to complain. I'll fix that in a minute. User class. It's going to complain because if I come over to my composer.json, I've not deleted that yet. So it doesn't know I want to be on PHP 8 level. The one downside about some of this, sometimes IDs are a little bit, why are you not doing it this way? But we want you to. And then pop that user ID in there. So related to that for a foreign key, good. We're done. So then what I go is go over to that user and we can say, okay, so we're going to add a public function articles. We have many. So we can say return this has many. Related is article class. And the foreign key is user ID. Done. And that's done for that one. Yeah, the status type columns with a proper enum is going to be amazingly fun. I'm probably more excited about that than I should be, to be honest. So we're going to add this category in here too. It's again. So this, ladies and gentlemen, and anything in between, is exactly why I sometimes like GitHub Copilot. It knew what I wanted. It suggested it, and all I had to do was press tab. Perfect. No, sorry, Marion. I started early. I did tweet about it. I put it in Discord and stuff. I'm trying to have a bit of a time with my wife tonight, so I will be finishing a little earlier. I started a little earlier. Chinese food is on the way. I am very, very much looking forward to that one. Right, so let's just migrate all that up quickly. Cool. Our tests are run. I kind of want to delete all those tests and start again so I can know what I'm testing. Not a good use of my time. So why user ID, not article ID? Okay, so this is a has many relationship, not a belongs to. So with the has many, you say what the foreign key on the other side is first. So I'm saying that we have many articles, and we are going to, we're going to look on the join table using the user ID because I'm the user. So I'm looking for a user ID that matches my ID. Where with a belongs to, you're saying this is what I have for a foreign key. It just switches with the has many, that's all. Confuse me first as well, which is why I like to declare it, because Laravel will assume this for you. And sometimes that forces you to say, like if I go back to the article here, this would have forced me to make this called user instead of author, whereas author makes more sense from a context perspective. So I call it author, and which means I've got to declare that, but I like to declare all of them anyway because it's very obvious. Maybe a newer developer joining, we can say, oh, so that's how it's linked in the database, and we can see that. It's important to kind of, if anyone else is ever going to work on this, because it's an open source project, I will be publishing this open source. This will be replacing the current repo that is up there. It just gives people a guide, which is always useful. So we've got a user, we've got an article, we've got category. So a user can create an article within a category. That is the idea. So with that being said, let's have a look at our factories. So we've got a user factory. That's all good. Actually, what I want to do is come back to this users table. I need a way to kind of identify admins quickly because I could do roles and permissions, but I might want roles and permissions deeper down the line. I might need a quick Boolean flag. I'm not sure. Is there anything that you think that I might need from a user's perspective? I'm thinking maybe it needs like a table string unique slug for the name, so you can get like an auto-generated handle, or you can update your handle later on. So that's like your publish handle, like you do on Twitter, like you do on GitHub, your handle, and that's how we want to kind of refer to you, if you know what I mean. So let's come back to our user here, and let's just drop that in there. I'm going to drop slug in there. We're going to fix some of the issues with slugs in a bit. We don't need that, don't need that. And let's drop some strict types in there. User factory, thick name, we've got some cool stuff going on. That's all working fine. So one thing that I know I'm definitely going to need straight away, because otherwise my factories are just going to fail. I need a new trait, which in Laravel we call a concern. So we're going to create some concerns in here. We're going to create a new trait called has slug, and this is going to be a trait. That's all it needs. Declare some strict types. So this is a public static function boot has slug, which follows the Laravel convention of a static method called boot followed by the name. Bam, it's suggesting what I can do. I like to separate username. Yeah, it's a slug, it's a handle. I get your point there, Samuel. I think maybe slug might be the wrong name on a user. I'd probably call it handle or usernames. It makes sense, but then I'm on a user model that has a name, and a user model with a name and also has a username. Yeah, I'd rather call it a handle because it makes a little bit more sense to me personally. I like this. I like what it's suggesting. I didn't think I would. I didn't think I'd find myself in this situation. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a model, an eloquent model here, which is going to quite simply set the model slug to be the model generate slug. Let's see if this will do what I want it to do. So by default, so what this is going to force us to do is be very clear on how we want slugs to be generated. So public function generate slug, which is going to return a string. Why do I write slug? Generate slug. Yeah, I'm going to obviously in the URL I'm going to include the @ symbol as well, so it feels similar to other things that you might use, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to return string helper and return slug, and for a category, this name. That's simple. For other ones, it's going to be slightly different. So for a user, generate a handle for this one. and then for an article. Right, so this is where it's still using a slug, but it's going to do it very differently. Let me just quickly, has slug, that's been included. So generate slug. We're gonna extend this a little bit. So this is expecting a title. So title is going to be this author name followed by this name. Yeah, I am a slug. Well, it's turned more into like a slug attack. So what we're going to do here basically is we're going to prefix articles with the author name. So it will be like this author handle would probably be a lot nicer. So for me, for example, we just Steve King dash this article title, so that every user can have the exact same title if they need to, if they're writing similar articles, but it's prefixed with the user handle, so they get less clashes. So they're not going to have to like change their title to keep guessing titles to use because it's not available, because that's just frustrating. Nobody needs that. Right, so there is that. So what we're also going to have to do is create a trait called has handle. Trait, okay, which is going to be extremely similar to our has slug. So we can just copy it for now. Beep. And boop. And there we go. So what we're going to do quickly is let's just declare script types, because that's what I like to do. So we're going to boot has handle. We don't know what else is going to include a handle yet, so we're going to call that method and we're good. Yeah, good point. Good point. I've messed up a couple of things. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm rushing through some of this because I'm hungry. So this name on a category, that is fine. On an article, we've got title, not name. So we can go for title there. And user, this name, got this name. So what I'm going to do is title. I love named arguments. Named arguments is just my go-to nowadays with PHP 8. It's just so nice. Let's make sure I'm using named arguments everywhere I can. And obviously then if it complains, I'll fix it. I'll remove them if I have to. Hopefully it'll just let me use them. Yeah, cool. So the best way for us to test this is obviously, let's go quickly create in the factory. Down here we've got a name. That's going to create a handle for us. I hate this part. I did do a PR for this, but it got rejected because it uses more memory. I did a PR for this a long time ago. It just got rejected because I'm not cool enough yet. Not just yet. No, it's not that I'm not cool enough. It does use more memory using the hash facade in there, but to me it makes sense. If it did that by default and you want to change the... Oh, you're good point. Yeah, well, I'm too busy thinking about my Chinese here, aren't I? I will slow down. I'm going to have to start writing tests for basic stuff now, aren't I? Because I'm being silly. I'm just thinking of food too much. No wonder I've put on so much weight. Right, okay, so email verified app, blah, blah, blah. With personal team. We're not doing teams, so I can quite happily remove that. Factory and verified, yeah, we can do that. Model, cool. We're looking good. So we can actually just go to Tinker quickly. Let's go Tinker app models user factory. This is going to fail. It didn't fail because migrate fresh. So, what did we do wrong? That is what we did wrong. Ooh. Field handle doesn't have a default value. Okay, so user, okay, my bad, use has handle. And there we go. We got a name and email handle, which is obviously the name. It is going really well, thank you, Has. I've been like super busy with work. Jump 24 is just absolutely mental right now. And what I'm going to do, it's my stream. I can plug. We are hiring. We need more developers. Come and join us. We're a great bunch. Drop in a link in the comments. I'm adding it to the broadcast. I'm having no shame about this. We're hiring at the minute. All the information's on there. It's a remote role for UK based people only at the minute, unfortunately. We can't hire outside of the UK. The tax implications for us and what we have to do from an accounting perspective, until we're ready to hire people from outside the UK, we just can't yet. No, I haven't asked about that thingy yet, Has. DM me. You've been avoiding me. DM me and we'll talk. We'll catch up on it. Hi from Switzerland. I hope you're having fun over there. Hi from Wales. It didn't rain that much today, so it's a good day to be in Wales. So we'll declare some strict types quickly. So with our category, the only thing we really need here is a name. So we're just going to say this faker. I'm just going to say words. Words and 2 words. And we're going to use that as true. I've tried to add named arguments to this and it always breaks. So for now, I'm just not going to. That should be all we need for this. So, hello Finland. How are you doing, Has? I hope you're having fun, buddy. I still trying to get over the fact that you just moved to Finland randomly on your own. It's just like, it's just what you do, right? Just. Also, hi from Wales. Nathan from Wales. Where in Wales are you from, buddy? Maybe you're down the road and I don't realise. Let's just pop article over there, because what we need to do is just make sure that we get a title ready. So what we can do is we're going to say this faker. We're going to do a sentence. How many words? We want 6 words and we want it as text. No. It's all automatically as text, isn't it? Sentence. Silly Steve, pay attention to what you're doing. You're too busy trying to find out if there's more Welsh people nearby. So there's our title. And yeah, Has just randomly moved to Finland. He's from the UK. He was just like, I'm bored of where I am. I'm just going to go. Oh, North Wales. So are you Shropshire based, I'm assuming? I used to live that way once upon a time in Shrewsbury. So this faker. Can I just do like let's get another sentence. This part doesn't matter so much. I'm just going to do sentence, a 5-word sentence or 10-word sentence just for fun. And then the content is going to be this faker. We want some paragraphs in there. We want some paragraphs. Let's add in like I don't know. This is where I'll drop it to a new line and we'll say, okay, so this faker, we're going to do a number between. We want anywhere between 4 paragraphs and 20 paragraphs. And we want this to be as text. We don't want it as an array, we want it as text. There's the content. The status is something I will move on. Flintshire. Oh, okay, so more towards Cheshire sort of way. So status, I'm going to come back to status because I need to create that enum first. Next, canonical URL. So before I do this part, I need to check if it's imported. I'm going to do Boolean up here. So there's our import. So if, basically, if we have an import, we're going to say this faker. Can I do like a URL, random URL? Otherwise, just null. Then import is import. Nice and simple, right? User ID is going to be user model factory create. You can use a make method, but I misspell everything. That's why I've got tests usually. Read it in a Welsh accent. We are as far from Welsh as possible. The wife is more Irish, and I am more German. But we're in Wales, you know. So we're gonna have to learn Welsh at some point. You know, we're kind of settling here a little bit. Category, factory. So you can actually use make, but I like to use create because you're creating a model, and anywhere else you're going to use create. You work in Chester. Ah, nice. I've got a friend who lives up that way and works in Chester too. He's spent a lot of time up there. And there we go. We're going to do that too. So what I like to do when I'm doing ternary operators is each part of that statement is on a new line. Oh, I can remove the create, can't I? It automatically does that for me. Each part starts a new line, and each beginning starts with it. So you can override it and don't create user. That is a good shout. I don't speak any German, Has. I'm more German than Welsh, but I spent very little time in Germany as a child, unfortunately. Very unfortunately. I can say a couple of words, but you know, they're not things that you can say on live streams. You know, that's how people get banned, right? Or is that Twitch? I can't remember. It's Twitch you're not allowed to swear on, isn't it? So you might know him. Alex Knopp. I used to actually be part of Shrop Geek up there. I went to their conferences about 6 years ago. Northampton. We're miles from Northampton. So okay. So what I want to do is I want to create some articles, because an article is going to create an author, and it's also going to create a category. So there's not much point me going, okay, create a user, create an article, create this. Yeah, it's all linked at the minute. So I'm going to go article factory. I create 50, and that's all I want right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up Table Plus again. I've got a Stream Deck, so I just like pressing the button down there. So we're just going to go down to PHPOnline here. Currently, no articles or anything. Oh, hiccups. That's not fun. So we're going to migrate fresh, and we're going to seed. Bam, what died? So slug doesn't have a default value for categories. So for categories, what is going wrong? What is going wrong with our categories here? So come down to our model, come down to our category. We haven't included that. So use has slug. Try again. What went wrong this time? Integrity, duplicate entry for key. Categories, category slug unique. Okay. Yeah, you've got a lot of people I know up there, kind of packed into a tight area, but a lot of rural villages. So a lot of people saying, "You're not from around here, are you?" So before I jump too far into that one, I'm going to quickly create just a quick enums over here. And what we need composer require sparsy star. No, I joke. I think it's Laravel enum. Oh, what a guess. Got it in one. Okay, so within enums here, we're going to create a quick article status enum. So article status, this extends enum. Simplify that one, and over here we're just going to go to sparsy Laravel enum. Let's go have a look, see how I use this properly. Not from around these parts. Final, a final class. Ooh, it's a final warning of using the final class. So what I need is, obviously, don't need it on here, but I like to add it anywhere I touch stuff. So we're going to have a method, I believe. Oh, it's like it knows what I want. Published, not archived. So if I come, I can't. Where did I leave it? Migrations, articles. Here we go. Draft pending published hidden. Draft pending. Ooh, grab that. Pop that there. Pending published hidden. That's kind of like our basic ones for now. Sounds like a pirate. Yarr. I'm Pirate Steve. Also sounds like it might be a pirate from Yorkshire slightly there. But I spent a lot of time in Yorkshire as a kid. So we can have a draft. It's always, so what I like to do with these is put them in the order that I know I'm going to call them. So it's always going to be pending first. I think. No, it's not. What am I talking about? You're thinking about Chinese again, Steve. So it's always, it's either going to be draft or published. I don't need any sort of pending state or anything from a draft state. So they can save a draft, no interaction from a moderation perspective. As soon as they want to publish, that is when it goes through a pending process of, are you an approved author already? That's what I wanted to add to here. Just a very, very quick table boolean, which is going to default. Don't do it there. Default to false. And I don't want to call. I'm going to call it validated. So we're going to validate authors or users in this case. We can validate a user, which will give them the blue tick. It won't give them blue tick. No vanity stuff, because nobody wants that anymore. We're just going to validate that user and say whether or not they can auto post, basically, I suppose. So what we're going to do is validated here. Grab that, come down to our casts, validated, and we're going to call that a boolean. That's great. Come down to our factories quickly for our user, and what we'll do, we're just going to add some validated this faker boolean. Done. So now I can migrate fresh into seed, which means that now I can say whether we've got some validated users, that's a valid user, so that person can auto post. And that's a nice way to do it. So it means that there's, as people post more, there's less moderation effort on my behalf it just makes life easier, because one of the things with Lara streamers is that Christoph, it probably should be called verified, not validated. You got a point there, Adrian. Again, I've probably got Chinese on the brain. Verified. We don't need to validate anybody's ego, right? It's all about verification. Verified. User. Verified. Verified. Migrate fresh and seed. Yeah. We're verifying. So the one thing with Lara streamers is that there's a lot of Christoph has to do a lot of kind of moderation. He gets an email, he approves, he denies spammy things, but he's got in his emails approve. Adding that auto approve thing, which he's got for his own channel, would be really cool if we could do that for anybody, right? Hey Chris, thanks for joining. I started early tonight. I'm going to have a Chinese with the wife, so I thought I'd start early so that I could finish early and have some food, because I'm starved. I'm not going to lie. Let's close all of these tabs. So where are we? We can have articles. Articles have an owner and a category. So what I'm going to quickly do first is that the wife asking me more questions? Ooh. No, nothing too interesting. No, nothing I need to deal with. I thought the wife might be going, "Whip food's here, come get it quick," because I won't be able to hear the doorbell over the headphones because I'm listening to the same music you are. So in our roots, how do we want this to be structured, right? We need to think about that a little bit. So that will get fixed later. That we'll deal with. So do we want it to be /article? So it's always on that root domain. Probably not. What we probably want it to be. We probably want that to be user /article. So it's always referencing back, and it might look a little bit silly because take me for example. Might be just Steve King and then just Steve King how to do a cartwheel. That in Laravel. Okay, not quite what you'd expect. So let's say that's the URL there. So just Steve King, just article title, tying back to that one. I think that's going to be the best option here. So maybe that's got an @ on it as well. That's going to be how we're going to name articles. But also, we're going to have things like category beginner. And we're going to have things like topics / tutorial or tutorials. But also at the same time, when profiles become a thing, suddenly there's my profile. It's ready to rock and roll. Laravel cartwheel already exists. Yeah, it just makes Artisan do a cartwheel like when you ask Google to. So that's basically what we're aiming for here. So I'm just waiting for my wife to say that food's here. I think she ordered it for around 8, so I might have to nip off earlier than usual tonight. I'll hang about until then for a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with probably the most annoying route. I'm going to do a get request. We're going to go to the user handle followed by the article slug. I'm going to name this article show or articles show. The root facade does not like named arguments, by the way. Every time I try it, it just complains at me. So we're going to go app http controllers articles show controller, which means I can comment that out and just go create that quickly. So let's make a new controller. that is going to be under articles, show controller. And obviously, I like invocable controllers. It's just how I like to do them. So I can now come to here, show, and let's just drop that. And let's try and get it responding before I've got to shoot. Mark my wife's message as read, so the next one that comes through, I know food is here. So we know, first off, we're expecting a user to come through, and then we're expecting an article to come through. So to start off with, we're just going to quickly dump the article like that. So I think we could probably write a test for this, right? We may as well write a test for this. We like TDD, hopefully. So I'm going to do a new directory within here, and we're going to call this pages, with basic pages tests. Articles test. So anything to do with articles, we're going to test. Anything to do with testing the article pages, we're going to test in here. They're arsticles. Okay, well, let's refactor that name. What happened there? An extra S that makes it just look even worse. So it can load a specific article from an author. Function. So article factory create, and this is going to be, simplify that, this is our article here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a get request, can load a specific article from an author. So we're going to do a get request to the URI, which is going to be root articles show. The arguments that I need to pass through for the user, I don't think I actually need to key these, do I? Is going to be article author handle and article slug, and we are going to very quickly assert the status for this. Import my class because I need it and I like it. HTTP, not the facade, my package. Okay, we're expecting this to work without any issues, right? Bang. We want a new pest configuration. PHPOnline pest. We're going to go directory scope. Basically, we're just going to go Steve code, which should be here. So code sites PHPOnline, anything within tests, interpreter PHP8 apply, OK, run. Yay! So this I should be able to just click run now. We're getting a die dump on an article. Which hopefully is a correct article. I'm not really too sure, really. I didn't think that part through, did I? Let's go back to the show controller. Yeah, you can do assert OK or assert successful. But I like to be very specific on this one, if I'm really honest. That's what I like to do. A little bit picky like that, unfortunately. Okay, so we're going to say article load author and category for now. Then we're going to return view, where the view is going to be articles.show show, and we're going to pass through the article. I mean, we could compact that. We could do quite a few different things. Okay, I know. But view is going to return. Boop. Hey, here we go. Eliminate contracts view. There we go. We're going to return a view, basically. I'm going to delete that for now because it makes it look messy. We'll fix it up later. So, coming back to this test, I can run it and it will fail. Bam! Can't find the article page. Perfect. So, in our resources, in our views, we can come down and we can create a new directory for articles. Create a show.blade.php. Show. I'll worry about design later. No, not what I wanted to do. Come back. Here we go. Now let's see if this loads. Bam, we're passing. That page loads. Oh. Good point. That is a very good point. Let's try that. And we're good. Yay! Right, so we can now show that page. But what we're going to want to do is, I don't think this automatically does it for us. So in our show controller over here is if the article user ID does not equal the user ID, and what we want to do is just abort with a 404. Just want to say, you know, this isn't the right one that you're looking for. Makes it easier. What I also need to do down in our root web, add that. So now if I come to any random one here, any random article, like this one, if I come back to here, what I can do, grab that, and if I do that, I get the article show page. So that's giving me the user. No, I'm not a big fan of abort if. To be honest, I'd even be tempted to say, you know, throw new HTTP exception personally. I'd be more tempted to do that if I'm honest, but abort is as far as I go. And abort and view are the two helpers that I use the most, other than auth. I like to be as declarative as I can most of the time, and that just makes it look nice and obvious what's going on, but we're aborting the request. Personal preference is always important when you're building things, to be honest. And so, yeah, there we go. We've got a way that we can get that. So we've got that part done. You can do another root get down here, and we could say user handle, name, users profile. Could call it show, but it's not going to be showing a user. It's more their profile. It is, you know, a public part of it. And what I might do as well is extend that so that we can allow people to have their profile shown. Maybe might be a good shout. Looking at app HTTP controllers. Yeah, Copilot works on Storm. It's just a plugin. Laravel magic. It's not magic. It's just well-written, thought-out stuff. So we're going to go for users. I'm just going to call it a profile controller for now. So this is why I use Warp. It's just a great terminal. So profile controller done, which means now I can just comment that back out, click through, and we got it. Let's delete that, declare that. Yeah, no, it is kind of useful, I'm not gonna lie. When you're working with tests, it's a lot more useful, if I'm honest, than actual code. So what I'm going to want to do here is I want to load in the articles relationship for the user model. That works. However, I do like to put that in an array. Other than that, that's pretty good. And what we'll do, as our profile builds up, we'll probably extend this. But at some point, what we're probably also going to do is move some of this over to Livewire as well. Because what's the point in using ToolStack if you're not going to use ToolStack, in my opinion? So here, what we would do is return, again, a view. And contract view, so we'll say view. That is what we're going to return. And we are going to go into here, users.profile, and we're going to pass through an array where the user is a user. How simple. There we go. So that's not needed. So we're just going to load in their articles quickly for now. So that if I go for when we start building out these profiles using Livewire, we can start making things look nice, basically. So that's the way we can view them. That's how that's going to work. Let's just create a very quick test as well in our feature pages. We're going to go for a profile test, anything to do with like the profile page we're going to load into here. No, I've not used the Laravel IDEA plugin. I hear it's really, really good, and I did have some free licenses which I gave out to people when I give out PHP Storm licenses. I've just not used it myself. Okay, so it can load a user's profile page. I don't think I'm going to add too many filters on loading a profile page yet. No food? Oh. The wife opened the door, came in, and I got all excited. Did you see that? You can tell I'm hungry. I'm very eager. I'm starving. Stop giving me bad news that food's not here. God. Next time will be thank you. So user profile, and what we're going to pass through is let's create a user quickly. So user is just going to be user factory. Let's create a new one quick, and obviously simplify that to make it look better. Yeah, I can't not use PHP Storm these days, to be honest. Pass that user handle. And we're going to assert the status code again, as always. I mean, I could use the helper functions here, but I like to be very specific, because if I change how I want this to work, I want to be able to quickly change my tests. So, run it. Okay, it's just going to be annoying, isn't it? Run it. Just run it anyway. Continue anyway. Okay, or don't, you know. Run it. You're going to set that. Apply. Go. Run. Test failed. Received 500. View not found. Perfect. Just what I wanted. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Nathan just said that. He brought Christoph's code. Do you mean his course there, Nathan? His PHP Storm course, is it? I've heard some really good things about that for people who aren't used to it. Oh, here comes PHP Ugly. Hey guys, hope you're doing okay. I'm pretty sure you're on a little bit later, aren't you? Although I think you start at like 5 AM for me, so I've not been able to catch it yet. So let's go to resources, views, and what we need like users directory within here, and then we can create profile.blade.php, new file, profile.blade.php. And then what we'll do is we're just going to like go. You can tell I don't write views very often, can't you? Yeah, they're called Mastering PHP Storm. It's a great course. So we're going to have user handle profile, and we're just going to add a. If I add an @ is it going to complain? Let's see. Let's go back to here, and then if I just. Yes, it is. So what I need to do is pop it in like that. Done it. Vim squad in the house. No, go away with your Vimness. I haven't used Vim since I worked on servers as a system admin. It was fine back then, but now I'm writing actual code and not just doing Apache config stuff. I just don't need it anymore. So there is the user handle. There is showing an article. Categories we'll come on to in a little bit. We've got some tests ready to rock and roll. Stuff is working. We've got the 7 skipped, which is obviously all of those tool stack API tokeny things. API support is not enabled. Yeah, I don't want API support yet. Jeez. Right, so where are we? So far, we have articles, which have authors, which is a user, and we have categories, which is like whether it's a beginner. We're going to categorize it as beginner, intermediate, advanced. Users can be verified. So that when they post an article, it auto-publishes. So those people who constantly write articles, they get auto-published. Those new to the platform, what we can do there is they go through a moderation process so that we don't get spam on the platform, basically. And then, all you got to do, you write one good one, great. I'll allow it. It keeps going. We're good. Just as a way to make sure that we don't get spam on the system, or maybe if I start getting a few questionable ones, then we keep a few going through. And obviously that's going to apply to like importing as well, because the idea is that we're going to be able to, as a user, you can write articles on the platform, which is great, or you can just import your RSS feed. And And what I'll do, I'll end up crawling that RSS feed, pulling that content in, but adding the fact that it's imported with that canonical URL to point back to your blog. Reach out to me on Discord, buddy. Down below, drop me a DM and we can chat about anything. Sorry, got distracted there. So basically, we want to make sure that we're pointing back to the true source of where the article was published. You could publish it on ours, or you could publish it elsewhere and pull it in through an RSS feed or an Atom feed. We're going to kind of do stuff so that we can support both. That's a start. And what's next? What else do we need to do? Still no news on my Chinese takeaway from the wife. We'll see. We're timing them. She ordered just before I started to stream. Living in Wales, as I do, your takeaway is not delivered by car like you get with your big city folk. We get ours delivered on the back of sheep. I'm joking, obviously. Okay, so what we also want to do is we want to be able to allow people to publish. And I was looking at ways that we can allow people to publish their own content and what we could do. And I've got a solution. Filament. The elegant toolkit for Laravel artisans. I don't know if you've used this personally. That icon, that's just awesome. If you use the tool stack, these are some really incredible components. I don't know how many stars or downloads it's got or anything. It's got quite a lot of stars. Can't see how many downloads it's got, but it's fantastic. If I go to documentation quickly, what I can do is I can go to forms down here. I think there's a markdown form somewhere. I'm not too sure what it's under. Admin panel, form builder, maybe. Building forms, fields, markdown editor. So here we go. I can just literally go, okay, markdown editor in my Livewire component and go markdown and editor, make content, done. Easy. And Filament, yep, well, cool. Okay, so great feedback here from Ryan. Filament is great. I completely agree. And yes, you're 100% biased because you're one of the maintainers. Of course, you're going to think it's great. I also think it's great, and I'm not a maintainer, so there's some validation right there. It is amazing, and I know PHPOnline, who also was in the stream, they use it a lot as well. If you're ever looking for a good podcast to listen to, PHPOnline is it's amazing. Just some really interesting topics covered. A few complaints about me sometimes, but overall pretty good. Yeah, you actually built this markdown editor component, and to be honest, it is the reason I am choosing to use Filament. I'm going to say that straight away. I needed one. It was a bit of a pain in the butt. V2 is in beta, secret beta, so probably not secret now, I've just told people on stream, but it's in secret beta. I was speaking to Dan the other day. This is currently on Markdown Editor, I believe is on V2 already, so there's some components on V2 available for you. So I'm going to be playing. So new okay, so filament forms. I just want the forms for now. And so I'm just going to drop the filament forms in there. Bish bash bosh. Done. Right, okay, so forms install. I had no idea how this works, if I'm honest. We're just going to go along with it. So let's run some dev too. I have heard another good PHP Laravel podcast is coming soon. There's already one out there for it. is called the Laravel Magazine podcast. I happen to be speaking on it soon as well, which is going to be fun. I love speaking on podcasts and other people's things, just, helping other makers, right? Ooh. Existing projects, filament, require filament forms. I've got Tailwind, I've got all of that stuff already. Do I need to do anything in here? Purge. Oh, I'm going to have to add that to Purge, my Tailwind. The bonus of having one of the maintainers join the stream when you're using their package, right? Oh, it adds it for you. Oh, you've thought of everything here. Tailwind forms. It should be in there automatically. Yeah, it is in there. Acquire Tailwind. Most of that's done. Most of that's done as well. Forms Alpine plugin. Let's have a look at that actually, because I'm not sure if that will be auto added. Yep. Oh no, you cleaned that all up for me. Thank you. That's good. Layout app blade. Finally create a new resource and layout blade from Livewire components. So I can go Livewire styles. I'm just going to copy this and just replace it. Layouts app blade. We'll deal with the fallout in another way. So resources, views, layouts, app. Let's drop you in there. Oop. Excellent. So now if I just log in, okay, so some of these are broken, but it's fine. I wanted to change a lot of these views anyway. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm more than happy to remove a lot of stuff from default Jetstream because I want to customize it a lot. Jetstream is great to get you started, but the UIs are, it's a starter. You're not meant to use that UI in production. It's like, here's how you can start. Now get started. So that's what I'm going to do. So that is all installed. Livewire scripts. Styles are all good to go. There's a quick override style there. Some application name, token, all of that good stuff's all in there. Ooh, pardon me. That app blade's done. App.js is done. Tailwind config. Web, we're good. We're good. Cool. So what I want to do now is what I like to do with these applications when I'm building them myself. I make a seeder and I say default user seeder. So the reason I do this is it's a couple of reasons really. So if I come down to database seeder here, I can kind of show you, right? So first off, I'm just going to call it. Class is going to be default user seeder class. That's what I want it to call. So this default user class here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm getting hungry. What's going on? Let's declare some strict types too. Right. So before my brain starts thinking about more Chinese food. The reason I do this is so that anybody who contributes to this, they can add their own implementation here for their own user that they want to create. So I can say user models factory create. I'm then going to pass in some details of the name. Is going to be Steve McDougall. The email is going to be just stevemcd@gmail.com, and my password. But I don't need to add the password because it's going to pass in anyway. And that's it. That's all I want to pass through. I was going, okay, so here's me. Here's how I want to log in. Everything's going to be password. We're good to go. So then I can come back over to here and I can go migrate thresh, and seed everything. So default user seeders done. So now I can actually just come over and I can just log in. Gmail, password. Yeah, save the password, why not? And I'm logged in. Here's our default layout. We're good. There was no navigation yet. I don't like the default navigation that comes with Jetstream personally. So I'm going to be playing with stuff. I'm making a fancy design. So there, I'm logged in. I am logged in. I am good to go. So he's got debug. There we go. Let's get that debug bar installed. Probably should have. Don't need to do that. Let's remove that. We don't want it that way. We want it to be a dev dependency. But as you can see, we now got this. So we are logged in. Get the dashboard. Livewire models. We've got one user. Queries. We can start seeing a lot of information, and we can start seeing what's being loaded, and we can start debugging things and stopping n+1 issues coming up and all that sort of stuff, which is always important. Kind of surprised my wife hasn't interrupted me to say food's here, unless she's in the other room already eating it without me. I'm going to go through with like half-eaten Chinese later on. I'm going to be really sad. What I'm going to do quickly is git add, git commit. Oh, it's not even a git repo. Git init, git add, git commit. And we're going to whip it because it's brand new, you know. So what we need to do, we need to create a new repo for this. Let's just quickly create a new repository. Don't need any templates there. Already got that one. I've already got that one named as well. So let's go to my repos quickly, and let's just remove one of the old ones. So PHPOnline. Not been updated since. Ooh. Stop doing that to me. Was it this one? 2 months ago. This one. So this is one that I started and other people contributed to, which I'll keep and will pull from when we need to. This is the one we're going to delete. So we don't need this one anymore. This was like one I created once upon a time. I keep leaving the project to the side, and I should be picking it back up. There we go, I have my password. Chinese food! I'm going to quickly push this repo off so other people can see it. PHPOnline, the PHPOnline.dev project. An online community for PHP developers. Public create repo. Beep pop pop pop. And then we're just going to add the remote. Then we're gonna do this one. There you go. Take my code. Right. So I'll drop the repo in the chat quickly. before I go and eat some really, really yummy food. So, feel free to have a look. Drop PRs, all that sort of good stuff. I'm happy for contributions on this one. This is just something I'm going to be running, hosting, managing, allowing other people to kind of utilise and have fun with. But I could talk more about that next time, because right now I've got Chinese food through there. I am hungry. Been streaming now for an hour and 40 minutes, which is more than I thought I would do. Discord link in the description below. Join me on Discord. I always talk about my streams, packages I've built, just helping other people on there as well. Join, say hi, feedback on Twitter, give me a wave. I look forward to seeing you next time. Don't forget PHP Uglies on a little bit later tonight. Check them out. Amazing podcast. Other than that, have a great evening. I'm going to spend some time with my wife. Thank you very much. Good night. Have a good weekend.